The flurry somersault. Reconsider. Double back. The 9th Street alleys bear witness as they softly change their minds. In her room at the brow of her father's apartment, Madeline Altamari practices the shimmy. Shoulders, 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 in front of the mirror so she can judge herself, face sharp with focus. It is the world's most serious shimmy. After 30 seconds, a flamingo-shaped timer trills and hops on its plastic legs. Madeline stops shimmying and rejoins a menthol 100 dozing in an ashtray on her vanity. She exhales again. On the record player, Blossom Dearie says she's alive, she's awake, she's aware. Shoulders, 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 and after 30 seconds, the timer trills again. Madeline frowns at herself in the mirror. Terrible. On a list by the ashtray, she marks 1 minute next to the shimmy, followed by a pert C-. She drags on the cigarette. The other categories, singing, scales, guitar, are unmarked. Madeline is 2 days away from being 10. She wears a clothespin on her nose and the uniform for St. Anthony of the Immaculate Heart, a maroon sweater over a gray jumper, over a gold shirt, over a training bra with lemon-colored stitching, thick maroon tights. She is number 3 in 5th grade height-ordered lineups, behind Maisie, whose spine is shaped like a question mark, and Susan, the daughter of ballerinas. She read somewhere a clothespin worn religiously will shrink her unignorable nose. She has trouble spelling the word rhythm. She likes when people in movies go to see movies. She cannot understand why the dime is worth more than the fatter, wider nickel. She needs a haircut. Her favorite singer is Blossom Dearie, and her favorite bass is Upright. She spent the previous night dreaming of apples. She smokes Newport menthols from the carton her mother was smoking when she died the previous year. Eggs cuss and snap on the kitchen stove. The unofficial rule of St. Anthony of the Immaculate Heart is that Madeline is never allowed to sing again in church or at any assembly. Never, never, like a whole page of nevers. Even though she had nothing to do with what happened at the previous year's winter assembly. Still, it is going to be a gold star day. She will suffer through Claire Kelly singing in morning mass, the girls' nasal notes and plosive P's filling the church with godless noise, spritzing the first row of pews with every heretical T, but then her class will be making caramel apples. Madeline has never had a caramel apple, and she wants to taste one more than she wants God's love. Claire, the sound Madeline's toilet makes when it's dry. Madeline is forever adding water to its basin when it wails, from the purpose-specific can she keeps under the sink. Stop worrying, she instructs herself. It's time to sing. She changes the record and releases the clothespin from her nose. She locks eyes with herself in the mirror and waits for the music to start. Madeline sings. My name is Blossom. I was raised in a lion's den. My name is Blossom. I was raised in a lion's den. My nightly occupation is stealing other women's men. One hand is perched on her hip while the other swings back and forth, keeping time. Tucked into the mirror of her vanity, a picture of her mother singing, one hand on her hip, the other swinging back and forth in time. Her mother was a dancer and singer whose voice could redirect the mood of a room. If you don't ooh, skooly-a-doo, skooly-a-dee, then I won't yet you-do-do-do-do. Don't you ooh, skooly-a-doo, skooly-a-dee, and I won't yet you-do-do-do-do. So don't you ooh, skooly-a-doo, skooly-a-dee, and I won't yet you-do-do-do-do. After the cancer spread to her lymph nodes, Madeline's mother filled a recipe box with instructions on how to do various things she knew she wouldn't be around to teach her. How to make a fist, how to change a flat, how to write a thank you note for a gift you hate, how to be efficient. Whenever you're doing one thing, ask yourself, what else could I be doing? On one recipe card, Madeline's mother listed the rules of singing. The number one rule, know yourself. for it. No, I'm not. That was really cool. Thanks, guys. So, The Cat's Pajamas takes place over 24 hours on Christmas Eve in Philadelphia. So the chapter headings are hours, and we're going to go a little later in the day, 7 p.m., to the conclusion of a dinner party with old friends who haven't seen one another in a while. Dinner is over. Bella pushes herself away from the table. She has spent the meal wanting more of everything and not taking more of anything. You're going to hear a lot of names, by the way, but the only ones you have to worry about are Ben and Serena. Those are our heroes. She and Georgie carry empty plates to the kitchen. Michael says, "I can't keep my hands away from the piano any longer." Ben says, "Would anyone mind if I stepped outside to call Annie?" Claudia receives directions to the bathroom. The room reshuffles, and when it stills, Serena Green is alone. She hears Michael in the next room fumbling in the pockets of the piano bench, setting up sheet music, and then the first few measures of a splashy intro. When she saw Ben unwinding his scarf at the front door, Serena wanted to remove her glasses. She removes her glasses when anything wonderful or embarrassing happens, like earlier today when her principal forced her to discipline Madeline, which would have been the crucial moment of her story during the dinner party. Serena has rebuilt her life one element at a time: the apartment, the job, the easel. It might be a plain life. She occasionally worries she is hiding out in it, but at least it is forged out of what she wants. She doesn't know the particulars of Ben's wife's job, but it involves legally representing poor kids with leukemia. Show off. She'd hoped he wouldn't marry the cardigan girl he brought around 4 years ago. She'd hoped the girl would be one of the many partners his group rotated in and out. Certainly he would notice how Annie rolled her eyes at his ideas, especially the last idea when he decided to quit law and pursue screenwriting. Certainly the girl, with a flounder's sense of style, wouldn't be the one he'd marry on an archipelago in the Caribbean, so Serena had heard, accessible only by duck boat. But he did, and she wasn't, and he didn't, so she was. Outside, the stars have been caught in the act. Ben paces the stoop. "Later than I thought," he said. "More fun than I expected. No one thought it was strange." "Well, yes, they asked how you were, but they didn't follow up." In the kitchen, Georgie and Bella pass a joint back and forth. Bella trains her eyes on the swinging door. "Claudia doesn't know I still smoke. I'm sorry she's acting like a bitch tonight." At the piano, Michael thinks, there should be words to classical songs. In the bathroom, Claudia reads a newspaper article about a famous chef's third restaurant opening. And under the stars, Ben says, "I realize it doesn't count as a separation if we talk on the phone, but you asked me to call you." In the kitchen, Bella says, she cut out drama from her life, and now she gets dramatic about people being dramatic. Georgie says, "It's like ex-smokers who hate smokers." "Exactly," Bella says. "Have a cigarette and get over yourself." She shakes her head and pretends to have a new thought. Serena has gotten so thin. Poor girl. She wants Georgie to agree, but Georgie has outgrown camaraderie through cattiness. And at the piano, Michael sings, "The more I see you, the more I want you. Can you imagine?" Upstairs, Claudia washes her hands with the no-shenanigans soap of a second bathroom. Kitchen, Georgie says, "I never thought I would get divorced. Never. Divorce is for sad people." Piano. "This thrill just goes on and on." Family room. Serena sits, orphaned by the dinner party. What she holds most against these people is how obvious it is that they love each other. A substantive love that caulks the cracks of their personalities. Georgie's oblivion, Bella's self-obsession, Michael's namby-pambiness. Serena hates the part of herself that wants inside that love. I was just thinking while I was listening to that, normally when I go to hear jazz, people talk over it. And it's so nice to just be able to sit here and listen to it and hear it. That was awesome. The More I See You is one of my favorites, and that was a really beautiful, lovely version of it. Thanks, guys. So now we're going to move to the Latin section of the book, where we flash back to Ben's horrendously unhappy marriage with Annie and something unconventional they do to save their marriage. This is at the 1 a.m. hour. After their wedding, Ben and Annie buy a townhouse in Old City and protect it with a top-of-the-line security system. Every night, Annie smooths moisturizer into her elbows and lists the following day's to-do items. Depositions, recycling, the post office. Ben watches her as if from the other side of a bay. Who is this tall, freckled woman, and why has he done something as important as marriage to her? He makes excuses to linger in his home office, tapping at his manuscript. She seems relieved. The sexless weeks pile up. He tries coming at her from behind in the shower, like a predatory fish. This dissolves into polite intercourse. He moves into her as if he doesn't wish to disturb her. Any interruption, a loud commercial or a passing siren derails their tenuous physicality, and they fall asleep, separate and worried. Every time they leave their townhouse, they punch the security code into a panel by the door, and when they return, same code. Ben blames his job. He decides to quit to try writing full-time. She resents the extra burden placed on her salary and discusses their problems loudly on the phone to her girlfriends. He's not a sexual person is all, she tells them, towing one battered, elegant slipper. Most men like sex. This one doesn't. Her supple elbows, her pale, elegant neck. He cannot imagine ever wanting to fuck her again. And one night, sleeping on the couch, he jolts awake to find her standing at the foot. There's only one thing to be done, she says. Their relationship had been careening toward it the entire time, he realizes, like the inevitable shoe drop of death. During their first salsa lesson, the instructor explains that the Cuban salsa moves on the one and that the clave, Cuba's answer to the cowbell, will guide them. Instead of Annie, Ben is paired with Rue, the assistant, who has forgotten to get old. Her laugh is easy, her ass taut. She leads him through the moves whose Spanish terms translate roughly into misogynist commands. Give me the girl. Tell her no. Ben immediately takes to the simple Coca-Cola, where he releases Rue for a beat before winding her back. Date her cousin, the instructor barks as they flop across the floor. Plug her in. Ben focuses on finding and maintaining the one. As across the room, Annie Coca-Colas fearfully with her own partner, a tax attorney whose blinking face seems overexposed, like it is missing a pair of glasses. He treads on her toe, and Annie giggles, looking for a moment like the young, sick girl Ben met outside Ethics of Law. That night they return home, sweaty and hopeful. You liked it, didn't you? Well, it wasn't bad at all. Perhaps the chance to rekindle comes around as often as the one, Ben thinks, if you listen for it. And Wednesday night becomes salsa night. Ben likes how the students say encouraging things to one another when it is their turn to cross the floor. He likes the tax attorney's contented grimace when he accomplishes a new move. He likes that everyone laughs at one another's jokes, even when they aren't funny, because it isn't about being clever, it's about being present. He likes the idea of working on his dance phrasing, and that everyone has a dance floor persona. Clara hits heavy on the floor, while Rue is airier like a responsive silk curtain. Ben likes that dance is a conversation, conducted in pressings made through the hands or against the small of his partner's back. One night, the unthinkable happens. Ben tells her no at the right time and forgets to panic. This combination triggers a feeling of well-being as he and Rue cross the floor. Within rhythm, our space is large enough for experimentation, he realizes, and he enters those spaces with his body. He dates her cousin, and it works! Rue, sensing the window that has been created by Ben's new ease, performs a butt twitch that sends a start through his pelvis. They slap the floor with their feet. They take preening, buoyant stances. Everything they attempt succeeds. They finish, laminated in sweat. The class thrills and cheers. Why, Ben thinks, panting and frozen in his final pose, would dancing be something you'd ever do with your wife? So cool. So we're almost finished. Stephen, would you like to introduce your musicians?
Sure.
Since we're almost finished.
Sure. You're listening to Keenan McCracken on the piano,
Woo!
Luca Rosenfeld on the bass, Kostas Galanopoulos on the drums, my name is Steve Frieder, playing saxophone. Thanks so much for having us. Marie.
Thank you. So as we conclude, I'm just going to read, this is the walking through the city music, the end, Chelsea Bridge. That's the description of when I emailed these guys and said, maybe we could do something, because Ben and Serena, the lovers, walk through the city, spend the book walking through the city, and so they're going to play you Chelsea Bridge, and this is just one paragraph about Serena's feelings about saying goodbye to Ben. Saying goodbye to Ben is Serena's least favorite activity. So sad the number of times she's had to do it. Ball games, recitals, the homes of friends, rented shore houses, through car windows after dropping off some forgotten camera. Goodbye. See you later. Nice seeing you. She has mastered it. A dismissive peck on the cheek, a hug like an afterthought, telling herself, do not watch him walk away. Watching him walk away, watching him drive away, watching him descend the stairs to the subway. How many times have they said goodbye to each other? Already tonight, twice. He interrupts her before she can get the second goodbye out. How would you feel, he says, about missing your train? Once, at the beach, Serena watched a crane bathing in a gully at dusk. It used its wings to funnel the water over its back, then shook out the excess in a firework of droplets. After several minutes, it took off, arcing out over the fretless sea. That felt like this. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sugar and Linda and Noreen. Thank you, Keenan, Stephen, Luca, and Costa. And most of all, did I get everyone? Yeah. Most of all, thank you so much for coming out in the rain tonight and sharing such a special evening with us.